Silent Hill. You drift into fog that feels alive. Silent, hungry. In Silent Hill, creatures aren't just monsters. They're hallucinations given teeth. Pyramid Head stalks you with oppressive inevitability. A hulking judge wielding a rusted blade, born of guilt and repression. Nurses shamble, slender, distorted, heads wrapped in gauze, manifesting twisted longing and institutional decay. The gray children roam silently, echoing lost innocence and suppressed nightmares. Everything in that town is symbolic. These horrors are projections of the psyche, each designed to shame or scar. You don't fight them. You confront the burdens you carry, manifest and fleshbound. They whisper that you belong here. Silent Hill doesn't scare you with jump scares. It alarms you with the knowledge that your own fears have spawned these statues of trauma. When one of those monstrosities appears, you feel an echo of your own shadow, bending logic into labyrinth, dragging you toward confession. To survive isn't to kill, it's to understand. In Silent Hill, the real horror is the creature you already are. The Mist. You're caught in a fog that feels wrong. In the mist, creatures emerge from a tear in reality. Tentacled horrors, razor-winged beasts, and the towering mist behemoth that rails through silent streets. They arrive through a military-opened portal to another realm, alien and relentless. Every screech and snap in the mist is a promise of pain. Arachne lobsters drift across deserted stores. Scorpion flies hum through broken bulbs. Terrapeds slink in the gloom, each a radical distortion of nature's violence. You don't just see them, you feel their appetite, mapped in every raised spine on their shells. These aren't supernatural ghosts, they're predators from another dimension, starving for flesh. They burst from mist with zero warning, a reminder that terror may not care about politeness, and the worst monster there might be your fellow survivors. Fear handed out like weapons sharper than claws. Sanctuary becomes a cage, paranoia the real predator. In the mist, what hunts you isn't a monster. It's the knowledge that fear can warp minds more profoundly than tentacles. Blame. You wander a city that never meant to be. In Blame, the creatures you face aren't supernatural. They're silicon-born horrors. Silicon creatures and safeguards, born of technogenetic experiments gone rogue. These aren't human. Each genome is forged from silicon. Bodies grown to enforce the city's chaotic architecture, hunting for the net terminal gene with relentless precision. When Killy moves silently, these guardians warp toward him. Faceless steel bodies wielding blades or emitters, their only protocols. Kill intruder. They reshape, corrupt, multiply. You see them lurking behind collapsed beams or looming beside monolithic walls, forever out of scale. Some are generals, transhuman hybrids warped by failed evolution. They breathe calculation, not emotion, and offer no mercy, only ruthless function. You feel small amidst endless corridors, hearing their mechanical whispers echo. In Blame, the terror isn't ancient magic, it's logic unchecked, a city run by entities that replicate and adapt, where humanity is weakness. The monsters are algorithmic nightmares reflecting what happens when your monsters are laws without empathy. Dead Space. You wake and gravity's gone, but horror clings. In Dead Space, the necromorphs are not supernatural. They are the dead, twisted by alien infection into grotesque killers. Corpses reassembled into razor limbs, shard-like spines, mouths formed where marrow should be. The marker's genetic code remakes you dead into predators. Each type, from the basic slasher to hulking brutes and spitting spitters, crawls with purpose. To convert, to kill, to spread. They're aggressive, relentless, violent transcendence of the dead. They pounce through vents, shunt through corridors, groan with corrupted flesh. You will learn quickly. Shoot the limbs. Don't kill the body. Because they heal fast until you rip them apart. These monsters aren't magic. They're infection made surgical, horror made flesh. You live amid rotating blades and dark corners, hearing a necromorph's scratch echo in your helmet. You don't survive by running. You survive by method, detachment, dissection. There's no redemption in Dead Space, only body horror and survival code. These creatures remind you that death is just the beginning of the nightmare. Berserk. You walk through shadows shaped like men, but more ancient. In Berserk, monsters were once human. They're called apostles, humans who sacrifice someone or something sacred to gain immortality and power, twisted into grotesque demons under the dominion of the God Hand. Each apostle bears a nightmare welded to flesh. Tiger-winged Zod, centaur-like locusts, crystal-scaled, grunbeld, and others. each a shrine to obsession, rage, or despair. You sense them not just as beasts, but as living allegories carved in sinew. When they emerge, towering amid battlefield ruin, limbs jagged, eyes burning, you know fear isn't the weapon. It's recognition. These creatures mirror human insanity writ large. Zod's roar isn't just feral, it's the echo of a warrior's ego. Rosine's butterfly wings hide a child's misguided dream turned predator. They obey no law but to tear the weak and feed their mythic hunger. You don't face them with courage, you face them with understanding that every monster is a decision away from being you. In Berserk, horror isn't foreign. It's the price of abandoning your humanity for power. When you see an apostle, you see what your soul could become, should you barter its light. Event Horizon. You board a ship that doesn't just cross stars, it opens a door to something darker. In Event Horizon, the vessel's gravity drive tears a wormhole straight into a dimension of hellish chaos. It doesn't bring back aliens or tentacles, it brings back pure malevolence. The Event Horizon becomes sentient, possessed, craving human horror. You don't see monsters, you become the monster. Crew members twist into grotesque visions, driven mad by guilt and hallucinations. The ship echoes with Latin chants. Liberate tutmet ex inferis. Voices not theirs urging them to save yourself, or perhaps condemn them. Walls bleed, corridors pulse with unseen dread. The vessel itself folds nightmares into architecture, turning science into sacrament of terror. It barely needs physical creatures, the true horror is psychic contagion. The ship whispers, seduces, shreds identity. You watch colleagues mutilate themselves, reenact nightmares, gouge eyes, summon hallucinations. There's no clawed beast, just madness incarnate making you its vessel. In Event Horizon, the monster is the space between realities, a bridge to hell, mocking science with cruelty. This isn't a haunted starship, it's temptation in steel, waiting to convert your mind into something unholy. The Last of Us. Fungus wears your skin. You hear it before you see it. A rasp, a gurgle, a wet shuffle in the dark. In The Last of Us, the monsters used to be people. Now they're hollowed, rewritten by a fungus named Cordyceps, a real-life parasite, only now in the shape of nightmare. It grows inside them, eats their brain, wears their body like a puppet. The result? Clickers, bloaters, stalkers, each stage more gruesome, more feral than the last. Clickers don't have eyes, they use echolocation, clicking with cracked jaws and rotted teeth, their heads split open by fungal plates. Bloaters are walking tanks of decay, hurling spores and rage. Shamblers swell with acidic gas. Every form is a step deeper into something inhuman. But the true terror, they aren't monsters that rose from graves. They lived, they laughed. Someone loved them. Then one bite and they disappeared into fungus. Now they stand between you and survival. Grotesque reminders that you could become them, not by evil but by bad luck. It's not the teeth that scare you, it's the silence. The weight of knowing each creature had a name, a story, and the fungus doesn't care. It just wants to spread. The Thing. You find it buried in ice. At first it's dead, cold, still. But then it wakes, and the blood stops feeling like yours. In The Thing, the creature has no true form. It imitates perfectly. It slithers into your veins, breaks down your cells, then wears your body like clothing. It doesn't attack like other monsters. It replaces you, quietly, thoroughly. You're still walking, still talking, but it's not you anymore. Every scream in the snow, every flamethrower burst, every blood test is a prayer because trust dies before you do. That's the real horror. You don't just fear the creature, you fear your friends, your crew, your own reflection. You wonder if it took you over, would you even know? Its transformations are a chaos of flesh. Limbs where mouths should be, eyes opening in torsos, heads peeling into spider legs. But it's not the grotesque that sticks with you. It's the question it leaves behind. Who's real? And who's pretending to be? You start to realize the truth. The Thing doesn't just want to survive. It wants to become, and all it needs is you.
Subscribe for more interesting stuff. Tell us your experience in the comments.